Pandemonium in Parliament. 8 Member of Parliament suspended.
Firstly, the following members be suspended from the service of the House.
1 Union Minister resigned and farmers protesting across the country. Well, you've seen the headlines and the visuals, and as usual, the debates are discussing about whether the farm bills are good or bad. Well, these bills have been very controversially passed in Parliament, and the politics around this has been quite dramatic. Well, let's back up a little bit. What are these farm bills? What are their provisions? What effects do they have on the farmers? And why are several people supporting it while several others are opposing them? Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down for all of you. No complicated English, no jargon, and no mathematical equations. When we talk about Farm Bills 2020, we are essentially talking about 3 different legislations. Number 1, the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020. We will call this one the Essential Commodities Amendment. Number 2, the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020. Let's call this one the Marketplace Law. Number 3, the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. We'll call this one the Contract Farming Law. Well, just to recap, we have the Essential Commodities Law, the Marketplace Law, and the Contract Farming Law. Now, the Essential Commodities Act was first brought in decades back in 1955. The Act basically controls the production, the supply, and the distribution of certain commodities that are known to be essential. So, if an item comes under this Act, for instance, a food item or an important drug, the companies and supermarkets cannot hoard these items when there is a shortage. They also can't artificially increase the prices, etc. The list of essential commodities as per the original Act includes these things: drugs including medicines, fertilizer whether inorganic, organic or fixed, foodstuffs including edible oil seeds and oils, hank yarn made wholly from cotton, petroleum and petroleum products, raw jute textiles, seeds of food crops and seeds of fruits and vegetables, seeds of cattle fodder and jute seeds. Well, the new Essential Commodities Amendment has removed foodstuffs such as potatoes, cereals, pulses, oilseeds and oil from the list of essential commodities, which means unless there is a dire circumstance like a war or a famine or an extraordinary price rise, these commodities will not be considered under the essential commodities list. Further, the new amendment says the government cannot impose a stock limit. That is, they cannot stop a supermarket or a retailer from hoarding unless there is 100% increase in price of perishable goods or 50% increase in price of non-perishable goods. The Essential Commodities Amendment is the latest to be passed in Parliament, and critics say that the amendment will lead to increased hoarding and an artificial price rise of things you and I and people much poorer than us need every single day. This includes rice, wheat, potatoes, onions and also oil. Now let's move on to the next food bill, which is now the Marketplace Law. Well, before we get into what this bill or actually act says, we need to understand how farmers currently sell their produce. In every state in India, the state government, let me repeat that, the state government sets up something called as the APMC. It is Agriculture Produce Market Committee. The APMC sets up markets, popularly called as mandis or yards, in several places in the state, which is where farmers bring their produce and wholesale and retail traders come there to buy the produce via auctions. The APMCs across the country ensure that farmers get a fair price for their produce. And when the buyers and the sellers meet, the APMC ensures that the farmers do not sell their produce as part of distress sale. Plus, the idea is to get rid of middlemen. The buyers and commission agents are all regulated by the APMCs by providing them licenses. In fact, any market fees or any such charges that are additionally charged are always regulated by the APMC. Well, according to the new marketplace law, the farmers can sell their produce anywhere, not just in the APMC approved mandis or marketplaces, but literally anywhere. That is, they can sell it inside the state, they can sell it outside the state, and if they wish, they can also sell it online. Which means, according to the union government, this law is being brought in to give freedom of choice to farmers. They will have a variety of marketplaces. The government says this is actually going to do good to them because they can choose from several options. Critics, however, have raised some points. Firstly, agriculture marketing is a state subject under Schedule 7 of the Constitution, which means the union government has no business to make this law in the first place. Secondly, the APMC markets currently ensure that the farmers get minimum support price, or popularly called as MSP, for their produce. MSP is the minimum price set by the government for a quintal of the produce, and frankly, it's not too much. Right now, the MSP for paddy stands at Rs 1,868 per quintal, which is 100 kgs. Researchers, activists, and actual farmers are worried that if they have to conduct trade outside the APMC mandis, they are worried whether they will even end up getting the minimum support price for their produce, because the marketplace law does not mention MSP. Well, while some say that setting the MSP in the law is problematic because the MSP will have to change frequently, changing the law again and again is a pain. While others point out at least the law could have said the trade should happen only at a rate above the MSP. Well, experts feel that this can lead to an increase of distress sale by farmers. Freedom of choice means nothing if they cannot protect their own interests. So that's the second of the three food bills, and this one is the latest to be passed by Parliament. Now this brings us to the last of the three, the contract farming law. Now this law, also passed by Parliament, says that farmers can enter into a written agreement with anyone, including a company, and sell them their produce for a set period of time as per the contract signed between them. In other words, companies can now have contracts with farmers for buying their produce. They can set the price for the produce, the standards and qualities can be mentioned, and other legalities can be mentioned beforehand. The union government says this amendment will protect and empower farmers to sell to anyone, that is a wholesaler, a retail giant, or even an exporter. They will have written contracts which will protect the farmer in case the buyer tries to cheat them. And they can also sell their future produce today, according to the government. Critics, however, are pointing out that this is wishful thinking. 82% of farmers in India are small and marginal farmers, which means that they farm on 2.5 to 5 acres of land. Will this small farmer be able to stand up against a massive super giant at court? What happens if the buyer says the contract cannot be fulfilled because the quality of the produce is not as per what is mentioned in the contract? What protection does the farmer have in this case? Interestingly, there is no mention of a mechanism of fixing a price. There is also an apprehension that free hand given to private corporate houses could lead to farmer exploitation. So if we look at these three laws together, the worst case scenario that emerges is corporate companies can now have contracts with farmers to buy their produce, but farmers will not have the protection of a minimum support price. If a company decides at the end of the cycle that the produce is not good enough, then farmers may be forced to make a distress sale at prices much lower than the minimum support price, because they will be selling the produce in marketplaces that are not regulated by the APMCs. Basically, experts say that farmers can get exploited by corporates, and the mechanisms that have been suggested or proposed for their protection are impractical. Further, corporate retail chains can contract a whole bunch of farmers and can hoard their produce to artificially increase prices for profit. And there will be nothing much that consumers like you and I can do about it. What's your take on the issue? Do you think this will lead to farmer exploitation or empowerment like the government says? Well, leave your comments below. If you are a TNM member, please visit our forums and chat with us about what you think about this and several other stories.